Attention bobsled riders! You will soon be embarking on a thrilling podcast down the icy slopes of the Matterhorn. So please remain seated, keeping your hands, arms, feet, and legs inside the bobsled at all times. Auf Wiedersehen! Hello, yodelers. We are the Matterhorn Yodelers. I'm your host today, Peter, with my co-host
Jackie
and
Japheth.
And today we're in the news. Yeah. Disney news.
We're doing what everybody else does.
We're doing what everyone else does, except we're really late to the game.
We only do it every 6 months, really.
Right.
This is Disney news that you've probably already heard about, but you're going to get our opinions.
You're going to get our opinions, our thoughts on kind of what I felt were the top headlines for Disney for the last 6 months. So, and it took me a while to get all this information together. Definitely ate up all my free time this week. So we're going to start things off with the first thing. Mickey Mouse enters the public domain.
Yeah.
Ooh, yeah.
There's the controversy of like what Mickey Mouse.
Right.
Is it Steamboat Willie Mickey Mouse or is it like any Mickey Mouse?
It's Steamboat Willie.
It was just the Steamboat Willie.
Or is it Las Vegas Mickey Mouse?
That's why Disney changes the look of Mickey Mouse throughout the years.
I just thought they're just changing it just to be more hip, or they just change.
It's a variety of that. So like there's that. That's what it is recently.
Yes, recent.
Like that's why like when you got the more they call it the Ren and Stimpy style,
the Nickelodeon
style Mickey. Like that was definitely because that was created around the same time when like they extended the copyright of Mickey Mouse,
for
and
like
so they're like,
100
we need
years.
to like do this. But I think in the past, I think a lot of it was just different artists were taking on the role, and so they're putting their own twist on Mickey, and so
Oh boy!
so now we've got a horror movie and a video game coming out.
Is there really?
Oh yeah, it was immediately announced. So obviously they were working on
They're
it
prepping it.
beforehand, and so it'll probably come out later this year. That stuff because
Well, they saw the success of the Scary Pooh movie,
the Winnie the Pooh one, right?
and they're like, we gotta get in on this.
And so
I don't know. It is what it is. It's not.
It's a tough dilemma of like you created it and then you like protect it and then it runs out.
yeah,
And then anybody can use it. And it's kind of a weird
it is a weird.
feeling
system.
like the children, there's still one child still alive of Walt, that can't really like benefit off of it as much.
Yeah.
I get it. Like you got Mozart's music and like it's been like 200-300 years. Like
Right.
that's fine. You've got, I think there should be like a 2-generational thing, like, or like 3 generations can benefit off of one thing before it's public domain, before like everybody, leeches on to somebody else's idea. So I've always like, I don't like the idea because I've never liked seeing like, you'd see in the Middle East, they'd use like Mickey Mouse by terrorist organizations to indoctrinate children. And be like, oh, I'm Mickey Mouse, and I don't like this specific group of people, and you're
Right.
supposed to hate them, and you're just like, you've corrupted this beautiful character to do evil.
Yes.
And it's like, I always like irked me, and I always like, I wish they could protect
And
these characters that are beloved by
and
us.
and we're gonna see that stuff. Like you got the people that are gonna make Mickey dark and scary. It's a horror monster thing. But I do feel that with Mickey entering the public domain, you're gonna get people that will actually make good content revolving around Mickey Mouse that Disney wouldn't make on their own.
And it'll be interesting with AI's like evolution
Mm-hmm.
to where you'll streamline cartoons easier.
All right, next headline. Disney Plus subscribers get free dining plan at the Walt Disney World Resort.
I had no idea about that.
Yes, I saw this because I was curious, but it was like only for
Certain resorts.
certain resorts, and you
The
couldn't get.
expensive ones.
So there's certain caveats to this.
Yeah.
Yes,
this
it was
deal.
like during the summer months, the hottest months.
And when you have a waning moon, and Minnie is in 2 No.
It was like during the summer months, you couldn't get a discounted price on the hotel room, so you had to pay full price on the hotel room
Right.
to get the free dining.
So you gotta really like plan out like what's a dining plan actually gonna cost my
Right.
group, and like is it better than the savings of the actual
Yeah.
resort?
Well,
this
and
was
do
a
I
big-
want to stay at that resort?
Well, this was a big deal because this is the first time the dining plan had come back.
Yeah.
And so, to me, this
What is the dining
indicated-
plan for people that don't know?
It's basically you just prepay for your dinners.
Yeah, you prepay for food credits that you could play. So there's a sit down dining and quick service dining plan.
So if you don't want to think about what you're spending on your trip, you just pay. You buy the dining plan,
It's-
and you
yeah.
just like,
and you
I
make
use
your
my credit.
reservations to
Yes.
go to certain locations. It's not going
Yeah.
to pay for the expensive places, but it'll pay. You know, you're like, well, these are our two choices. And sometimes
Well, it
when
can
you're on
pay
trip,
for the expensive places. So, like, it does include, like, buffets. Like, the more expensive,
I'm talking about like expensive.
it just costs two credits.
credits.
2 credits.
Yeah.
All right, kids, we're starving. Let's work on the intermittent fasting stuff.
But I thought this was an indication of things slowing down in the park.
They do give those little benefits.
and you're going to see a common trend with a lot of these headlines.
Yeah, I
that
was
they're
like,
offering these special deals, and
they're offering a lot of these special deals during the summer months. So I feel like they're really concerned about this summer.
yes,
They want the families to come back during the summer for their family vacations.
And, you know, with the reservation system, they can tell who's coming and who's not coming.
that's why the reservation system ain't going nowhere.
Yeah.
The date is just way too valuable for them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, here's another one that kind of ties into that. Magic Keys are back on sale for the Disneyland Resort, which is the annual passes for Disneyland.
Yeah.
And they're still available.
Yeah. Disney.
Whoa.
Disney
Are
had-
they super expensive?
Oh, of
Yes,
course.
of course they are.
Disney had this trend where it seemed like they
They-
would only release them for sale for like a week.
No,
maybe?
they had a specific. No. They just had a specific amount. Because
Yeah.
like I remember
Kinda
I
like
tried.
like the Halloween or like the
Yeah.
event
It's
it's
parties.
just like that. So like I waited in line the day they said, okay, we're releasing Magic Keys. I got in line and I was literally in the thing checking out to buy my annual pass, my Magic Key, and they ran out while I was checking out.
Ah,
So
they should have like a little like.
and
buffer.
that was like 4:00 in the afternoon when that happened.
When did they open it?
like 8
It's
in
like
the morning.
8.
But I was
Man,
working.
it's
that
like
day,
the
so-
old concert. Like you wait in line and
It really was. But now they are free range. I think there's one of them that's not available, but I think
It's
all
like
the rest are
yeah, it's like a California one maybe. or-
probably the California
And that's
one.
really popular in the culture of California. The locals just come in. Like, you knew, like, Friday night at Disneyland, you would just get overwhelmed.
Right.
Like, you're just
Yeah.
like, oh, the locals are here. And, like, oh, you're ruining my weekend experience at Disneyland. Being
I
an
don't know.
out-of-stater.
Yeah, it was like Disney was using it to bump up their sales for the quarterly reports.
Yep.
That's what they were doing.
That's
it
what they
for.
were
Doing it.
using it for. Yep.
And there's
that was a Chapek thing.
yeah.
How about that money?
But recently they're making it a little bit more open.
Well,
for,
because attendance is leveling out.
yeah.
There's a headline that I'll get to later that talks
I thought they
about
just didn't
that.
want, at Disneyland, they just didn't want to bog the park down with locals that aren't going to buy the merchandise and the food as
I
much.
think
That was the initial idea,
the initial
but
idea.
now it's backfiring on
But I
them.
think it.
Okay.
I think it was proven to them that like the people that are annual pass holders are coming just for like the,
The merch
food, the
and the
merch.
food,
They're
yep.
not really there for the attractions that much. Like
Yeah.
they'll go on a few, but that's what they're there for.
They're there to spend money.
It is true. When I like had a pass at Disney World, I would want to do unique things.
Yeah.
Do a ride here and then leave. Like, I don't think I did more than like 4 or 5 rides at a time. I'd go to the park, get a feel, and just go. Like, I never really stayed all day.
Right.
Well, it's just like now how expensive going to the Disney park is. Like for someone who's not an annual pass holder, and we like go like maybe once a year or so, like you have to pick and choose what you spend your money on.
Correct.
And it's just like, oh, do I want this churro or do I want to skip a line?
That's true. Yeah, when you started paying for Fast Pass, it changed the dynamic. And going to Disney for the first time with a family, that was for 4 people. and one of them's a baby that I didn't pay for like 3 days. It cost us $3,000 for everything out the door, and that's hard to swallow. Like
Yeah.
when you're like, man, I could
could
do 3 weeks in Europe for like $10,000,
Yeah.
and you're like, yeah, it's
Those are I thought we're like the amount we spent going to Disneyland. We're like, we could do a Disney cruise and like just relax.
yeah. But
Yeah.
ours was different with having the whole family there.
Right.
But
Yeah.
it's certainly when you start adding everything up, you're like, maybe not as much. And I think that there was this big surge like after COVID. And everyone had all this
Go
money
to the
saved
park.
up. Let's go to the park. And then they got the bill afterwards. They're like, man, that
Yep.
was brutal.
Yep.
Like $150 for a surge day. And I paid this. And you're like,
I mean, we're at the point. I mean, especially at Disney World, they're getting to the point where they're charging $200 a day.
and it's just like, to me, I'm like, nah.
Someone online did a study, and they said it's cheaper to fly to Tokyo, and go to the park there than go to Disney World.
Yep.
I believe it.
Me and
And
my
I was
wife,
like-
me and my wife, we crunched the numbers, and we're all like,
Like, do we sacrifice 1 or 2 trips to Disneyland that we would normally do and do like a bucket list
Right.
trip?
Right, because
Yeah.
like the parks like in Tokyo and Shanghai and all of those, it's cheaper. Like the tickets are cheaper, the food is cheaper, hotel prices are cheaper.
And what's nice about traveling to another country that you don't know the language? You don't have to hear the whining of the people that speak English. Like, I'm not joking. Like when we went to Germany, like we were done like about a week and a half already in Europe, and like we went on an English tour, and you forget like, holy cow, Americans whine so much. They're like, oh, my room was this, and like, oh, they had this food, it was kind of dry, and like, oh, and I was like, man, I looked at my wife and I go, man, I like listening to German because I don't know what they're saying, and I just go,
they could be complaining, but I don't
they
know
could be
it.
complaining, but they're like, you know what? We're having a great old time. I always think they're saying like happy things as opposed to like, they didn't have this. So like that actually sounds more enjoyable, like going to Tokyo and not having to hear about
Well,
them.
and from what I've seen, like Tokyo is very English friendly.
Oh yeah. That's how it was at Paris too.
Yeah.
Like
Oh yeah.
I'd be like, oh, parlez-vous anglais? And they would be like, yeah, what do you want? And like,
All right, moving on. Echo is labeled as a non-essential MCU show. So they started releasing, they're now pointing out now in their marketing.
Like, don't worry
that
about this one.
Don't worry about, like, this is for the fans.
It's a
basically.
one-off.
It's a one-off situation.
I'm like on episode 2 or 3 on it, and it's tough for me to watch.
why is it
It's
tough? What's
okay.
tough about it? Like,
Just being motivated to watch it. It's just not very
Well, it doesn't feel
captive.
it doesn't feel like a Marvel show. It just feels like
No.
it's okay. It's an interesting show with Native Americans and
gangs and yeah, it's just like okay.
I stopped at 3, and I was like, another show
I
caught my
binged
interest.
it in one night.
Yeah, you were.
I was up all night and I was just like, well, I'm gonna watch this show, and I watched it all night. I was like, all right.
It was just something like I'll put on if I don't know what to put on, and I'm like, okay, I just need an hour to
I mean,
kill.
it was
then you start
interesting.
looking for things to watch. You're like, nah, I don't want to watch that again.
All right. Let's see here.
Which is a shame though, that like because I really do enjoy the character Echo.
Yeah.
I think she's really cool.
I just finished the Hawkeye series.
I
recently.
thought she was great in Hawkeye.
She was.
So like, it's fun that like they did it very like culturally, which is cool. Like the series, but
They didn't hook you.
it didn't hook me. It didn't connect me. It, like Peter said, it didn't seem like a superhero. It was just like a spy or a gang show or whatever.
It's kind of like how I say about Loki.
yeah.
Like, we like Loki the character, but it's not the same Loki from
right.
Right.
Marvel. Like, you know him and he's chaotic, but the Loki we're watching, that could
It's
be it
different.
could be Doctor Who. And
Yeah.
like you would be like, this is a great sci-fi. Like, and that's how
Right.
I looked at it. It's like, this is a comic book. This is science fiction.
Yeah.
Here we go. Park hopping is available anytime at Walt Disney World. So that was a big change.
That's good because I learned that you can't park hop
Not at
at
Disneyland.
Disneyland when you make a reservation and you change and you have to wait
Well,
2 hours. That one
Disney
was
World
a
system
shock.
was complicated too, because even if you made a reservation in one park and you were like after the hours of park hop, you still had to check in at that first resort.
Wow.
Yes.
You couldn't oh, I slept in. Oh, let's just go to Epcot. I feel
Right,
like you,
no,
No,
they
you
still
still
have-
had
you still
to
have to-
check in.
oh, what a
and then hop.
pain because it's so big. Like
I would see like Disney vloggers. They're like, "Oh, I have to go clock in at Hollywood Studios, and then I'm gonna hop over to Epcot."
Right.
yeah, that would stink. You're like, I picked Animal Kingdom today. Oh, this stinks. There's
So-
no monorail. The guy's
Yeah.
like, no, there's totally a monorail there. I've been there.
The guests, I just when I was working at the Animal Kingdom Lodge, and they're like, "Can I walk from here to there?" I'm like, "No," and they're like, "But what about this area?" I was like, "That's where the animals live. I don't recommend that."
Right.
There's a reason why you don't see guests in there. They don't survive.
The lions are hiding. They're getting ready to pounce. All right, next one. I just thought it's not necessarily a big headline, but I felt like this has been leading into a growing trend recently with Disney. Was that Disney premieres their new nighttime drone show, their Disney Electric Sky Parade.
Oh yeah,
I saw like
I've
an
seen
image of
clips
Peter
of
Pan,
it.
and I was like, oh, that's cool.
I've seen clips.
They do
of
it over the lagoon, right?
Yeah. Well, this one was over the castle.
Ooh, over the castle.
No,
In
that-
Paris. This is
this is
Paris.
Paris.
This is Paris.
Oh,
You're thinking
I-
of the new show that just came out.
like this
month.
week.
Soar. Yeah.
But no,
Yeah.
Disneyland Paris. Yeah, I've seen it. It looks really cool.
Didn't they like release that for the 30th?
Yes.
I remember seeing
I think
something
you
there.
saw it.
I saw parts of it.
So yeah, they embrace this new drone technology that allowed them to use it for the nighttime spectacular in replace of fireworks, which you're now starting to see when they premiered that and how positive reaction that got. That has now started its process over at Walt Disney World. So expect to see less fireworks and more drones in the future for your nighttime shows.
Yeah, I could see them doing this for Animal Kingdom.
Yes.
They've always been wanting something for Animal
They
Kingdom
tried
because
doing
you can't do
projection
fireworks.
shows.
The water. Yeah.
So I could totally see them doing it. Well, they have those huge like stadiums thing that they built at Animal Kingdom.
and it sits
And it
empty.
sits and do nothing because they had the kite show, which was a
I saw
big
that. I
fail.
saw the kite show. It was fun. It's fun watching them crash the kites at
Right.
the end. That's always fun. Just see them. They crash it into one of the stands.
Well, it was made. It was the stadium was made for like this river show that
Yes.
just failed.
Yeah,
Oh.
they were doing the river show when I was working there.
Yeah, the floats.
They were starting to go.
The floats wouldn't float.
Yeah,
They
so
would sink.
the river show, it was supposed to open like a month before I was gonna leave Disney, and then the float sunk, and so they had to delay it, and so I never got to see it.
So yeah, I just thought it was worth mentioning because that was kind of the start of the thought process, I think, amongst other parks going, maybe we should embrace this drone technology.
It was kind of like when California Adventure introduced World of Color.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
And
You
you're just
saw
like,
people
you're like,
do the-
man, they're really putting a lot of work in there. You're like, is this going to be better than fireworks? And
It
it
is.
really
Kinda
is good.
does.
And so that's why
I definitely
I'm
prefer
more
World
open
of
to it.
Color.
I'm more open to it and seeing a good show. And
Yep.
I've seen really good drone shows done outside of the park. And I was like, well, this could definitely work here.
Yeah, and Disney's not going to go cheap on it. They're investing a lot of money on it. I mean, they've been working on this technology
For a while.
for a really long
Well,
time.
you don't want it to go haywire. You don't want.
They don't want falling
They
drones
don't
on
want people hacking the
Yeah,
drones.
that's very true.
All right, here we go. The Mandalorian Grogu movie title. They announced the
Did
title.
they announce
Oh,
that?
Yeah,
I
it's
didn't
called
see it.
The Mandalorian and Grogu. That's the name of the movie.
You can't call it Baby Yoda.
Mandalorian and Grogu.
That's silly.
So I just thought that was an interesting.
They did it because it's easy and people are going to call it the Mandalorian Grogu movie.
Just call it Mando.
Yeah. I was just like,
Mando and the Child.
yeah. No one, I don't think the public really responded well to the Grogu name.
Yeah, because we all are like, oh, it's Baby Yoda.
It's
like,
Baby
and they're
Yoda.
like, no, his name's Grogu, and you're like,
Nah,
Baby Yoda.
It's Baby Yoda.
I know they
that's
tried
cute, but we're going with Baby Yoda.
But yeah, I just thought it was worth mentioning that was announced. Next one, Disneyland Pirates of the Caribbean gets a quote unquote temporary lightning lanes.
Ugh.
Oh, it's not temporary.
It's not temporary.
It's permanent. Those kiosks are permanent in the ground. They did it because Splash and Haunted Mansion are
currently closed.
Are currently closed.
So it's the only thing on that side of the park.
Correct.
It's the only thing.
It's
and
just
even
to
Winnie
create-
the Pooh's closed right now.
Yeah, it's just to create demand for FastPass, basically.
Yeah.
Their Genie Plus.
And you know what? Fresh Bake did a study on it.
It
and
actually didn't impact
It didn't
anything.
really impact it that much.
Surprisingly, this time.
Because they have FastPass going on one lane and Standby on the other, and the flow of pirates goes so smooth. The queue.
Their capacity is the highest
Yeah.
of all the
So,
rides.
I mean, if you don't want to wait in line and you have Genie Plus, like it's a walk on basically for
Pretty
a
much.
Fast Pass.
It's a sucker's pass.
It
It,
really
just
is.
depends on
Never waited in a line. If like the thing is, when people see the line outside of the bridge, they walk past. They're like, nah, I'm good.
yeah.
But like, if even Fresh Baked, he goes, "Oh, if it's on the bridge, that's about about 20 minutes."
Yeah,
Yeah.
but there's still that psychology.
yeah.
Like
Oh,
you're like,
absolute-
if you see the
see
extended
that.
queue and you're like, nah.
Well, it's like Peter Pan, you see it, or Alice in Wonderland. Like it's got that
There's that
automatic
line.
line.
There-
There's a guest regulating, like
Yeah.
with Peter Pan, it won't go beyond 40 because if it gets outside that queue, people are like, nope,
I'm not
I know,
waiting an hour
I know it's
for
40.
a 2-minute ride.
Yeah.
No, thank you.
Yeah.
By the time Wish left the movie theater, it had just hit its budget worldwide.
That's sad. I thought it was better. I mean, I looked at some of the, like as we discussed in an upcoming podcast about the success of some movies that are not very good or how much money they
Right.
make. I thought Wish was
It's
entertaining.
not a bad movie.
It's not a bad
No.
movie,
It's not a bad movie.
but will it get lost in time?
Yes.
Yeah.
It will. It will, but it's on the upper side of the movies that have come out that are Disney.
I mean, your daughter loves
She
the
does.
character, and
It is. She likes it. And
it's the kids that are keeping it alive, not the adults.
like the extended stuff, all the work that went into it, it makes you appreciate it more
Sure.
for sure.
And I think it's also a testament to the flaw of their current plan of, okay, we're going to release this movie and then 3 months later put it on Disney Plus.
You know what? They actually extended it a bit after
They did. They did.
And I think we've discussed this, but I really think they should wait a year.
I think so too.
I-
I think they need to go back to that where it's like create the demand again.
I think Disney's learning that though, and I think we will start seeing
More of that.
a bigger delay in that because
Because the focus is they're not focusing as much on Disney Plus anymore.
No.
Once
they're
they
not.
merge Hulu with it, I'm so overwhelmed with new stuff where I'm like, nah.
Well, I was looking at like what's new on Disney Plus, right? It's all Hulu.
Yeah.
None. There's maybe one Disney Plus though
You really have to look for the Disney Plus.
Right.
logo.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, here we go. I don't know. I think you saw the video. There's this Imagineering video of the hollow tile floor.
Yes. This is like
No.
It was crazy cool.
This is an innovative, like, gaming tool. Like the floor, you
Oh,
move
it
and it moves
moves.
with you. Like it, like
Yes.
it. I guess you could immerse somebody in there and they can run, but they won't go anywhere.
That's
Right.
right. The Imagineer has like over 100 patents with the company
Right.
or something.
Like, it was a crazy video. You're just like, yeah, see, look, I'm just moving, and like
You're not going anywhere.
Yeah.
it was amazing. Like, what do you think this could be used for? I don't know.
That's something where I'm going. I don't know if it'll ever make it into the parks, but Disney can definitely sell it to like a gaming, like an immersion,
Yeah.
like game or situation. They can even sell it to the military because they're all about, like, when I was in,
Training.
they were about they were trying to, like, you know how pilots got like simulators, but there really wasn't anything for like the ground fighters. And so that's what they were trying to simulate. Like you could set up these elaborate kind of like sets and they can clear rooms or stuff, but you couldn't really do distance and like deal with enemies and non, you know, was it urban situations. And so like that's what they were trying to do, and I'm like, this is kind of where
Right.
The technology kind of reminds me of the technology in Big Hero 6.
Yeah.
yeah.
It totally gives that vibe.
Yeah, the movement and it doesn't go anywhere. Yeah, I think it's really cool. And I was like, man, finally Disney's like innovating something.
Yeah.
Like, what was the last thing we saw? Better animatronics. You know, like that was one thing that was sad, where like the innovation part kind of like it slowly went away with Walt passing.
Yeah. I
That-
definitely think these tiles, like, itself, like, obviously probably not the most practical because it'd be super expensive to put in the parks.
It'd
or
have to be in
an
a ride
attraction.
situation.
But this is, I think, is just a stepping point towards something bigger of
Absolutely.
technology.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I just thought it was a cool headline. I was like, I remember this. I remember thinking.
I got
this is really
excited. I
cool.
was like, this is hope for like
Yeah.
better things.
Yeah.
Like
They
not-
made a really cool. Disney made a video on it,
Yeah.
and it's definitely worth watching.
All right, next one. This kind of goes after an announcement Disney had made at the end of last year, where I think they said they were going to invest $10 billion in the theme parks.
Oh, in
is
the
it
next
now like
year.
60 billion now, or is it?
So, well, this is a different headline that says $2.5 billion of that is going to the Disneyland Resort.
Yeah,
Which this
That's huge.
announcement happened
it
before.
is, but it isn't.
This announcement happened before the approval of Disneyland Forward, too.
Yeah.
So,
You're like 2.5 million,
and we're probably going to talk a
Billion.
billion, but still, like you think of it, like how much they spend.
That builds a stadium, or it used to.
lot. Right.
I mean, that could buy a
I
sports
mean,
team now. That's a lot of money.
That's a significant amount that you can do a lot with. And we're going to talk a lot more about Disneyland Forward in the future.
Yeah, we're having an episode on that one.
Yeah. So like we'll talk more about that later. There's several headlines about that. There's a lot of headlines about Tiana's Bayou Adventure. I'm not talking about any of that because that's
Everyone's super excited, but
by the time this episode comes out,
Disney Worlds will be.
we're
open.
gonna be at that like preview stage
Yeah.
when that happens. So
It looks pretty. I'm excited.
the
for it.
animatronics look good. They're using the success of Little Mermaid and like Ursula, and you just look at it and you're like, this is great.
They're using the quality of animatronics that you see at like Tokyo,
yep.
Yeah,
which is great.
they need to incorporate more of that in the old dark rides at Fantasyland.
So I'm definitely excited to see the previews. I probably won't be at the parks for a little bit, and so I'm excited to see
Yeah.
it online.
The Pixar Place Hotel opens. The re-theme of the Paradise Pier Hotel.
The outside of the Pixar Place Hotel is so boring. It's
It's
gray
it's
and
not
white.
a very exciting hotel.
wow,
in
that's
general.
so
It's so
disappointing.
boring. Inside, it looks great.
It's okay.
I get it. They're doing like gray and white because it's like sketch, and then you go inside, and it's like the development of like.
Maybe it's just primer
The
for they're
artwork.
like, well, maybe we'll just paint it later, and it's easier to paint gray.
I think they're gonna eventually paint it because like when you stand in California Adventure and you see it like on the pier and stuff, and you're just like, it looks like a Hilton hotel.
That's pretty much it. You
But
know,
the inside looks great.
it's okay. I mean, they did.
They
It's a good job for what they had to work
they
with.
modernize it. It's more business feel because obviously they do conventions and stuff
Yeah, the
there.
convention center's just down the road.
Yeah.
So-
So I think they just made it more adult.
Bing Bong is an exclusive character there.
Yes, so you can meet and greet.
Ooh.
And the thing is, you don't have to stay there to meet him.
No,
You
but
could
that
just go.
gets you in the door, and then you go, "This is really cool," or "Hey, this is close to the park. Maybe I'll just like look into this place."
And you have your own private entrance into Pixar Pier.
Yes.
That only people that stay at that hotel, not the other hotels, but the Pixar Place Hotel, there is a private entrance to the pier itself.
Yeah.
oh wow,
Yeah. It's behind the
where the
by
Maliboomer used.
Goofy Sky School.
Yeah,
is
it's over
like,
there.
Right there.
It's like that's where that
There's a
little-
pathway.
There's a pathway. There.
That one right there. Okay,
So
I didn't know that. Okay.
yeah. This one had a lot of headlines, but I think it's just worth mentioning was the whole Disney board vote with Nelson Peltz.
What does that mean?
I don't know.
So basically, as we all have noticed, there has been a lot of issues with the Disney company, and a lot of people are not happy.
Is this the kind of
The Disney board stuff.
The Disney board was like almost did a coup.
Yes.
Yeah, this was the.
And so Nelson Peltz was trying to get like him and like 3 other people on the Disney board that were going to change things up for the Disney company.
Kick Iger out and do things.
Yeah, so like that was kind of the idea, and so there was a lot of it created a lot of attention. Not that I think that
Stock
Nelson,
wise, this is the game
yeah,
of
like,
stocks.
and then this isn't necessarily interesting for the common people, but I think it's important to point out that I think this moment was a wake up call for the company that they can't keep going down the same path that they have been going, because like Nelson Peltz, he's been trying to get on the Disney board for a while, but this is the closest he's ever actually gotten. He never did get on. He didn't get the votes, but he got close this time.
Someone just bought like a bunch of stocks recently and got on the board or whatever. I don't know who. I saw a headline.
I think Nelson Peltz, he bought a lot of Disney stock, but not enough for him to. He thought, like this warrants me to be on the board, but no, they didn't want him on the board. But it was interesting to see, because I don't necessarily think he was the right person for the Disney board. Do I think he would have taken Disney in the right direction? No, but it was a wake-up call for the Disney company you need to change something.
Yeah.
Because it ain't working, and your customers aren't happy. And
it's a growing period.
Yeah.
As a lot of companies are right now. They're all trying to gain their footing in the post-COVID world.
Well, you know what? We've talked about like the growth of like Disney company, like with the change of Disney CEOs and like the impact of that, and we're just in that really rough patch right now.
They're still trying to find a leader
Yeah.
with this big company, and while it's trying to figure out its identity.
So, yeah, I just thought that was worth mentioning. This next one, we've kind of already talked about it, so we don't need to dwell on it too long. It's just Marvel is minimalizing King in the MCU.
They found a replacement for him.
Did they?
Yeah,
recently.
they did. Mm-hmm. And so they're retooling their plans for the MCU.
Like I said, Loki kind of squashed at the end of theirs, that show where they're like, we got rid of most of them, and they kind of like little creak in the door, like we can open this door if we need to.
Yeah.
But they have like Doctor Doom and
right.
and X-Men and all
There's
that.
going to be some changing with Marvel in the next
There
few
was
years.
definitely some changes. Next one, Disney, Fox, Warner Brothers, and Discovery launched plan to launch their own joint sports app.
Was it Venmo or Ven?
They just
something?
announced it. It was like Venue
yeah.
Sports.
It's not like it's like Venmo, but it's
Venue.
Yeah.
It's just sports, but they're doing a bundle with the regular content too.
There's some bundling going on with different companies.
Yeah, we'll get to the.
But like this is the
other
one where
this is the sports one.
This is the last thing keeping satellite and cable is sports.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's like the TNT and ESPN and Fox Sports. That's the only thing really keeping people connected, besides just like old traditions of just going on satellite and recording. And so I think this was always going to happen, but everyone was like, how does this happen? Because what happens is these guys go, you'll make us this much money, so we'll give you this much money for, rights to showing your show, and that drives the players' income. So if you look, like, football is the biggest sport in America, right?
Yep.
Everyone, it's like football, but the players don't make as much because they don't play as many games. That means there's less advertisement, and there's a bigger team. There's like 72 players, 72 spots. Like, it's just like a huge roster as opposed to, NH or the NFL, or not the NFL, the MLB, where it's like they got maybe 15, 20 people on their roster,
Right.
And then they play like 120 games every day. Look at all the, the old man, commercials and stuff like that. Or the NBA plays 82. Like, that's why they make so much more money.
Right.
And so, like, I think these big companies that traditionally done the cable, they're still trying to figure out like what can we make from this, and it's the big leap into the future. So and Disney plays a huge part in this because ESPN.
ESPN.
Yep.
And so it's just a matter of like, and I just recently saw they're trying to renegotiate the NBA's contract,
Right.
and with Amazon, so it's interesting like how this will unroll in the next, I say in the next 2 years, the way you watch sports will be different.
Yeah, for sure. Walt Disney World ranks #1 rip-off tourist attraction. Thought it was just an interesting headline.
Depends on what you want.
Yeah, I need more.
It just depends on what you want, but it's expensive. It's
For the common people that are not fans of going to the parks and things like that, I would say it's 100% correct, especially if you don't know how to navigate the park, you don't know how to navigate your money when it comes to going through the park.
Yeah, it just
there's a lot of hidden costs that you're not going to account for.
Correct.
And that's
Yeah.
where you're going to feel like, I got to pay for this now? What a ripoff. Like, I bought the ticket. Why do I need to buy this? And I can't do this. I can't do this. I could do this. And I didn't make a reservation 6 months ago for this restaurant. I'm hungry now. Why can't I?
Right.
I got to go
Yeah.
all the way to America and eat their barbecue because I can't get into the steakhouse in Canada.
Yeah.
What a ripoff.
Yeah.
No one told me that in Little Book.
So, water park admission for resort guests in 2025. So if you stay at a Disney World resort,
You
you get to go to the water park for free.
Typhoon Lagoon
I think
and
that's great,
Blizzard Beach.
I think that's
Honestly.
great too.
I think
I
that's-
think it's great as long as you have a lifeguard on duty on the slide and you don't bash your face
yeah,
and drown.
Yeah,
There's a lawsuit that just came out this week and
Oh, really?
about that.
about that. This lady went down and she like got rattled and like she was unconscious in the water and like the family's like, "Hey!"
Was this at the water park?
It was a
Yes.
Typhoon Lagoon.
Oh.
And like the family's like, "Hey, we need help." And like the one guy, he's like, "I don't work. I'm not a lifeguard." And so they got a lifeguard, which scares like, where's the lifeguard at the bottom? And then when they showed up, when the lifeguard showed up, he's like, "Hey, leave her alone. You can't be there." And they're like, "She's unconscious. She needs to move." She was all bloody, and they're only asking for 50,000. I'm all like,
You get
You can
more.
get a lot more than that.
oh yeah, it's interesting. Like I saw that, and I'm all like, I think Disney will settle, but man,
Disney will definitely settle.
it's like, here's your money. Shh.
Yeah.
Please go away.
Disney's known for settling. No, I think that's a great idea because I think the Disney water parks don't get a lot of attention because there's so much to do at the normal
Correct.
parks.
I would agree with that.
And I think also a lot of locals like to do like staycations at the resorts.
Yeah, and there's other water parks in Orlando.
And also gives you like the
That are
excuse
better.
of like, well, maybe I don't have to stay at this deluxe resort because they have a nicer pool because I can just
Go over to Typhoon Lagoon.
I could just go over to Typhoon Lagoon.
Yes.
Right. I thought that was an important one. And then shortly after that, they announced price increases to all their parks at Disney
Shocker.
World. Shocker.
It happens every year.
Disney Plus releases more shows on DVD. Andor, Falcon and Winter Soldier.
Oh, they're gonna release those
Obi-Wan,
shows?
And Moon Knight. They already did. They're already out.
I think there's a culture change where people like they want the hard copies now.
People, there's
There's a movement back to I want hard copies now.
because shows disappear and you're like, or they move to a different streaming platform.
Willow, where did we go? You guys didn't even get to watch that.
I watched Willow.
I watched,
Peter did watch
I
it.
watched one episode and then I was like, I'll get to it later.
And then it was like, boom, gone. And you're
Yeah.
like, oh, okay.
Yeah, and
Cost us too much.
I think that's what people. I mean, our father is he likes to have the permanent media because
They can take it from you.
they can absolutely.
And it's like your Apple Music. It's like you buy it, but you don't own it.
you don't own it. They'll take it away.
Yeah. And there's people now learning like, I don't want a subscription life.
Right.
I want to actually own something.
Right. This is a fun title. I don't know if you saw these, but they are absolutely hilarious. So in Chile, they were showing the original Star Wars movies on television, but with no commercial breaks. But they put the commercials in the movie.
What?
And they're beer commercials. So like there's like a scene where like Obi-Wan's getting the lightsaber out for Luke in A New Hope, and then he pulls out a beer and it plays like "Little Cristo." It's like hilarious. So go and watch those. They are hilarious.
How did they get away with that?
It's small television in
Yeah.
another country.
It was in Chile.
It's like
so-
when the PTA is showing Lion King and they're like, PTA's like, oh, they won't find us, and like Disney comes down hard. It's proximity, how
Yeah.
close you are.
So yeah, I just thought that was funny, and they are absolutely hilarious. Like as a Star Wars fan, you watch and you just like bust out laughing.
You imagine if you
every
come back to
time.
America and you're like, dude, where's the beer commercials?
It's like because he like holds it out and like it's obviously an edit. Like you just see his hand holding the beer. Like they don't even. It's just funny. Let's see here. Disney announces $60 billion investment in the parks around the world.
Yeah.
70% of it's going to increase capacity.
We need more in.
Yes.
Wait, like increase capacity, like parking structures?
No, capacity in the parks.
To
Like,
open it up more.
Gotcha.
so that they can have more people in the parks.
Gotcha.
This one's more for me than anyone else. The original Land Pavilion music started playing at Epcot. Just wanted to- Star Wars Rogue Squadron movie is back on the slate.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, there a new one's coming out real soon. It'll be out by
Acolyte.
the time.
The
Yeah.
show.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it comes out.
We'll probably do an episode on it.
I think so.
probably. D23 announces they're using the Honda Center for their big events.
That's where
They
the
announced it last D23.
Mighty Ducks play, right?
Yeah, that's where they might.
The pond.
Yeah.
That's just where they announced like what they're showing at the Honda Center. They announced that they were going to do it, but they didn't announce like what was going there. And
It's
so
gonna
they-
be the big.
the big events.
The
Are they
big event.
moving the whole thing from the Anaheim
No,
convention?
that's just
there?
where the big event is, like where they do
They're
the
tired
parks
of
panel.
Father Yoda sleeping in a parking garage for a space.
Pretty
Well,
much, like they know there's high demand for it, and so they
And
wanted a venue that supports
They
that.
sold out all of all of the seats at Honda Civic within 24 hours.
Wow. That's amazing. That's got to be at least like 15,000 people. And I imagine if they do it like a concert, they'll cut off. So like, I mean, you're looking at like 10 to 12,000 people
It's
to watch this event.
crazy how
That is huge.
how fast it went. Like a lot of like the people that I follow, they're like, I didn't even get tickets. I couldn't.
Wow.
Oh, he even tried?
Yeah.
Really?
Well, like they tried the next day or whatever.
Right.
Like they just thought, oh,
Let me take a look at this,
I
see
could
if they're
get I could
available.
get tickets, whatever. And they're like, no, I couldn't get tickets.
That's crazy.
It's all those Disney vloggers and
Yeah.
and podcasters. They just
They're
suck
the
all the
worst.
fun out of
They're the
Disney.
worst.
They suck the fun out of it.
I think there's just a large amount of Disney adults.
I think so. Our generation
It's the
is really impacted, and we've allowed it to
it's
continue
the
on in
Disney
our
Comic-Con.
adulthood. I think so.
It absolutely is.
Because Comic Con became out of reach for the average person.
It
Yeah.
did. It really has. Like even the local one, it's quite crazy.
Yeah,
Even the local one. And
Yeah.
it's not like
it's
like
fun to
here in
people
Arizona.
watch that.
It's not like, oh man, they've got these like amazing movie reveals or anything like that. No, it's just jam packed full of people.
Fans
so-
having fun.
Yep. And there's nothing wrong with that.
No, and that's just what this whole event is, and people are willing to fork out a lot of money.
Yep.
And
I'm glad we went
early on.
early on.
Me too.
You guys were there. At
I
the
was there
first
on the
one.
first one, and that
Yeah,
was really cool.
The first one was great.
You know, there was, yeah, it was, and the second one, I was like, oh, this is big, too big
That's
for
when I
me,
went,
and I was
yeah.
like, it's not for me anymore.
Yeah.
All right. Permits are filed for Animal Kingdom development.
I
for Dino
saw
Land.
that. I
I'm
actually,
not surprised because they brought back Joe Rody.
Well, that's another headline. Joe Rody's come back as a teacher for Imagineering.
Yeah.
He just come back to teach.
He's advising.
Yes.
they've done a picture for it, so they've
Oh,
got it. Like they
yeah.
show it. They're like, so the Dino Dig place is getting turned into like a merry-go-round. Dinosaurs becomes Indiana Jones, but they got like it's a South American theme.
Yeah.
And
which
so
I like.
it's like, okay, so we're gonna get like a Mayan, or Inca experience.
Right.
Yeah.
And I thought that's cool. You're getting a Dinorama is getting turned into Encanto, and then they're still gonna have a retheme of the restaurant there. So I mean, it's
I'm
not
looking
huge, but it's like it's changing the whole theme.
I'm
Right.
looking forward to it. I think it's gonna be a great change.
I agree.
Disney new cruise ship called the Disney Destiny. They
Yep.
announced the name of the new
Which one
ship.
is this one? Is this the one that's gonna be in like Thailand or Singapore?
I don't think so.
No, this one.
No. That's that big one.
That they
No,
bought?
It's not the treasure.
I know.
Oh.
Like he's the one he's talking about.
Oh yeah, they bought one that they're
That's gonna be
refurbing, and that's the one.
That
for
one's
Asia.
a South Asia. Okay.
Yeah.
But this one's, I think, it's just like a new Caribbean one because they got their new island that's opening up this summer. I think.
I know.
right?
I wish they would move one of the ships over to the West Coast because they only have.
Do they have
one.
two? Oh,
They,
they only
only
have
have
one? So it's either doing an Alaskan cruise or a Mexico cruise.
Mexico or Hawaii.
Woo, that's a long.
Yeah, it's like 10 days.
We've kind of talked about this already, but the Hulu Disney Plus merge.
I give it. It's overwhelming.
It
I
is.
kind of miss my like.
What they
need
need
to fix the filtering.
They need to just like if you want Hulu,
You
they
go to Hulu. They had like a demo of it where you're like, oh, if you want to go to Hulu shows,
Yeah,
go
the
there.
beta button,
Yeah.
and I never selected it. And then like boom, it's like Europe, and you're like, Kim Kardashian's on my Disney Plus.
Yeah.
And it's hard because like, if you need to, you can't filter it for your kids or certain shows or ratings and then Disney Junior is like
You can.
baby.
You can. You just put the password thing in there.
Yeah.
And they can't see the R-rated stuff.
Yeah.
So
Oh,
like,
I tried to set it up just so I could.
well, it's not a very good like if you got like a Roku, there's no button, so you're going individually. They're like 4, 6, 5, and your kid's like 4, 4, 5, 6, no, 4, 4, 6, 5. Like they're saying it out loud with
Right.
you, and
No,
you're
but,
like, this
when they
defeats-
made the change, right, and they combined Disney Plus and Hulu, I tried to do that so that way
They don't do it
easy.
anymore?
I can't find it. There's no way for me to set it up.
Mine's still from when they first released,
Right.
like, put in a password. We're gonna
Right.
give you.
R-rated stuff.
We're gonna give you Deadpool and Daredevil.
Yeah, like there's I cannot figure it out. I've looked in the
Yeah.
settings, and so I'm hoping they might change it a little bit with HBO joins in.
with Max.
Yes, that was also announced recently that they're going to be doing a bundle, just because neither one's making money. So they're like, let's work together.
And what's interesting with Max is you actually get like TNT Sports and you get like CNN.
Yeah.
And so like you do get access to that old cable kind of access. And so I've been able to watch some of like the playoff games on Max.
Yeah, it's interesting because it's like Disney, Hulu, and HBO getting together, and then it's
Warner Brothers getting with someone with Apple.
Peacock, Apple,
Paramount.
and Paramount.
So we've got
And we've got two battling
we got a bunch
now.
of alliances
And then in the
going
middle
on.
is Netflix being like, please put product on me, please.
Netflix is just
They make
trash.
money. They're
They
still
do.
they make money, and everyone's like, how do you do it? Like, and it's like we buy other people's garbage,
Yeah.
and we show it to you. Like movies are like, this movie got a Rotten Tomato of 25%, but it's the #1 movie 10 years later. Because we're like, oh, I remember watching that movie. Let's see if it's still that bad.
They
It's
just
funny.
announced Happy Gilmore 2.
Well, yeah.
Netflix.
Well, yeah, because Adam Sandler has a sweet gig with Netflix.
Yes.
Yeah. Millions of dollars.
Hey, how would you like us to pay for you to make movies with your friends?
Okay.
Deal.
Sure.
And we'll pay you lots of money.
You can do whatever you want.
And the quality doesn't matter.
Yep.
What was the one Halloween movie that he came
QB Halloween. I
It was
love that.
So
That
bad.
was horrible.
It was awesome. I loved it.
Awesomely bad.
I couldn't
Awesome.
finish it. It was so
It was
bad.
awesome.
I was
I'm
like-
gonna watch it
I
every
got
Halloween.
through. I
It's
got
so
through
good.
like 10 minutes or 20 minutes or something of that, and I was like, I have to stop, or I will take a fork in my eye.
Oh, it's so awesome. I love his flask. It's awesome. It's so funny.
It's a thermos, right?
Yes, thermos. Yes.
We
Okay.
don't drink thermoses here.
No, we don't. It's too hot here in Arizona. Tokyo is adding Marvel characters to It's a Small World.
That's fun.
Yeah.
So, and they already have the Disney character inclusions as well. And
Are they gonna have Hawkeye like slaughtering Yakuza? Is that? And they'll have little streamers blowing.
I think it's something that will probably only stay like in Tokyo.
Yeah, why not? You never know.
Tokyo likes to do unique things.
Yeah.
All right.
Well, don't they have the Marvel Hotel?
Or
is that Hong
No,
Kong?
that's Paris. Paris has the Hong Kong Hotel.
Paris has the Hong Kong Hotel.
Or the
Sorry,
Marvel.
the Marvel Hotel. Sorry. I'm mixing up words. Sorry. All right, moving on. Pirates of the Caribbean will be rebooted.
Oh, why not?
Why not?
Will be
Is it a TV
rebooted.
show or a movie?
Movie?
Yeah, why not? I'm all for it. As long as you're not making the same movie.
Right.
Yeah.
You're not doing a Star Trek thing where.
I would love it if they did like pre-Captain Jack Sparrow.
No, I want
No,
something different.
just
A whole
different.
different pirate experience. You can
Yeah.
have some of the characters pop in.
But like completely new
Completely
pirates.
different
Yeah.
pirates.
I
No
wouldn't
Jack
even, I wouldn't
Sparrow.
even want that.
No,
I
I'm
wouldn't
saying
even want that.
that's what I meant by like pre. Like I don't want like anything connected with Jack Sparrow.
I don't even want that world. Like I don't necessarily want that world that they had established.
Oh,
at
with the
that
other, like the council.
Like I want like a more realistic pirates, not like sea monster pirates.
Yeah, like the first movie. Well,
Well,
besides the zombies.
Correct. That's what I'm talking about. All right. New patent for an improved Soarin' attraction. Did you guys see this?
No. What are they going to
No.
do?
So basically, you know how like
More oranges.
so like basically, you know how the attraction it can kind of lift you up and back and forth. Well, now it'll go side to
They
side.
want to swivel you around
Oh,
more.
okay.
So,
Sure. Why not?
Disney has filed patents for Beyond Big Thunder Mountain area.
Yeah.
Beyond.
Yeah, it was
Beyond
the
Big
big
Thunder.
talk of Blue Sky at the last C23.
That
Okay.
I hated. Yeah.
It was bad.
Well, what do you think? Do you guys think this is a good idea? We don't know.
I like how like the one announcement that they were like, we're gonna do a Marvel attraction. No word of it at all. And we're like, yeah, that got canceled. That got a hard cancel.
It got retooled into 7 different other.
They had to put on the signs. It's like, please applause. And everyone was like, nah, I don't know.
At Disneyland, they added special music that goes alongside the fireworks music.
Ooh.
So you get it's
Oh,
the
at
same
Galaxy Edge.
in Galaxy's Edge.
So yes.
So like you've got your regular fireworks show that you watch it anywhere
At the
else in the
castle
park. It
or
plays
whatever.
the typical music,
But you're going to Star Wars music.
You get Star Wars music in Galaxy's
That's
Edge.
awesome.
So I've watched the fireworks from Galaxy Edge, and it's a great place.
It's a great view right in front of the Millennium Falcon.
Yeah,
Yeah.
great place, and it.
Did they play like the Return of the Jedi? Like,
I don't think they did for this last one, but
No, I think that's a.
and they got
solid
guys that come
idea.
out with like, they come out with stormtrooper helmets, and inside there's like meat and stuff, and you're like, whoa, you're eating the
Well, they
stormtroopers
made-
like the Ewoks
They
while
made
you
the
listen to the music.
stormtrooper popcorn buckets.
Oh yeah.
The
oh
stormtrooper
yeah, that was
heads.
a cool. That was a good popcorn bucket. I like
Yeah.
that.
Because then you
one.
get to wear it afterwards.
I also like the Jabba the Hutt popcorn bucket. That
Oh,
was
yeah.
a cool one.
Oh, I can't believe we're talking about popcorn buckets right now.
All right, Jackie, this one's just for you. Tell us about the DAS system.
Oh yeah. So this is big controversy, especially like right now going on because they just started.
It just started.
It just started at Disney World. So basically, Disney is controlling the DAS, which is the Disability Access Pass, which previously people would use to get basically a return time
For the ride.
for the ride.
A reservation
Yeah,
to come
a
back.
reservation to come back. So like they're waiting for the ride outside of the line.
So you wouldn't have this huge buildup of people using that pass, and that backs up the whole line.
Yeah, and basically you get to go through the fast pass like
Yeah.
when you have this big reservation.
Or through the exit.
They're managing the crowd flow that
Yes.
would affect everyday guests.
But unfortunately, a lot of people have abused this pass.
This is common with the old ADA pass.
It was common. It's gotten worse, and the reason why it's gotten worse is because they're charging for fast passes now.
Mm-hmm.
So because they charge for fast passes, people are looking for cheap.
People are
Walk-arounds.
using a disability.
And you can't call them out on
To-
it. You can't. It's
to
the,
get
it's the
it-
same problem that they had before with the paper passes.
Well, yeah, and
Well, now Disney's actually going to call you.
they
out.
are calling it out. So basically, yeah, so people were using
It's
this
not
so
an
they
easy
didn't have to
process to
pay
get it
for
now.
Genie Plus, but now they have this.
You need a doctor's note.
You literally have to do a FaceTime with
You
Disney.
have to do an interview with Disney before you go to the park. You have to do it after you've purchased your ticket.
Mm-hmm.
I have a Tropic Thunder joke, but it's like in my head I'm going, don't say it. It's Tropic Thunder. You can't make that joke.
But basically, you have an interview, and I've seen a lot of videos recently of people's experience on this interview, and they're like, "Okay, what is your
Are there TikToks people making fun
Yes.
of it? I'm sure there are. Like
There's a lot, and it's really interesting. So people are like, so Disney's like, what's the disability? And they'll say the disability, and Disney goes,
No.
no, here's the word.
not good enough.
Basically,
Try again later.
so
Oh, that's
basically
horrible.
the DAS is only for like autism.
I imagine that was going people who are not neurotypical.
Yeah, it's for those. Anything
Or they're neurodivergent.
anything mobility is getting denied.
Yeah, because most attractions nowadays
Especially at Disney
are
World,
are
wheelchair accessible.
Yeah.
And
That was a problem at Haunted Mansion was we get people like, I have a wheelchair, and you're like, go on through, you'll be great. You know,
Yeah.
we'll pull you when you're ready. And it was the one that was very hard telling people to go through the line were people who had autism, and it's just like, I know your situation and I agree with you, but my boss / lawyer says you have to go through this way.
so if you're getting an interview and you open up like, oh, I need this because of a mobility disability, you're going to get denied. So if a mobility disability and a mental, start with the mental.
Yes.
Don't even mention mobility.
Are you telling them how to game it?
No, I'm just
I'm
sharing.
crazy. I'm crazy.
Yeah.
And
But-
I got a bum leg, but I'm crazy.
There are
Yeah.
people that are like, I got denied because of my diabetes. I'm type 1 diabetes. And my thought is like, well, what's different from a line from standing in a crowd of people?
It's a dangerous game. That's always been the problem with these passes is it's hard to regulate it. And I think they found a way. They're trying a new way. They're just waiting until somebody comes with a big lawyer like lawsuit.
And I think
to
it's
change
just
things.
right now Disney's just being super strict to weed out
The faint of heart.
the fakers.
Yeah. The
And,
people that
and
the
Disney,
abusers.
and
People-
Disney
yeah.
has come out and says if we catch you lying, you will get a permanent ban.
Yeah.
That's huge.
Especially because a lot of the people that are complaining online about this are like the super like Disney adults, and they're like, I go to Disney 3 or 4 times a year and I can't wait in a 3-hour line. And I'm like, why would you get in a 3-hour line? Like
Nobody gets in a 3-hour
I was like,
line.
if you're going
Tell
to
it to the people on Christmas time. Those lines are ridiculous.
But I'm just like, if you're going to Disney 3 to 4 times, I know you know how to do Disney, and I know you're not getting in that 3-hour line.
You're just a complainer.
You're just complaining.
Yep.
And that's what you're hearing a lot of news about. It's these Disney adults that can't get away with it.
with gaming the system.
Yeah.
And it's always been a complaint for the last like 20 years is people
And it's
using
like,
that.
they're like, and they're saying that we can purchase Disney Plus, or not Disney Plus, Genie Plus. But that's so expensive. And I'm just going, but you have a disability and you just have to make sacrifices. Like for me, I have really bad arthritis. And so I'm in a wheelchair a lot of times when I'm in the
It's
parks.
hard for you like to move through the park.
It can be very difficult. But I know, like, for me to make the park doable, I need to be in a hotel close by, which is generally more expensive. I need to pay for a wheelchair. That happens, It's just things that you have to prep for beforehand.
It's a hard game, and we want everyone to have a good experience, but we don't want people cheating the experience, and that's what can ruin it for some people. And I've seen that, and I've seen people get really mad, genuinely get mad at people who are cheating it.
Yeah.
And I always tell the guys, like, I remember going like, they're doing this, and I'm like, I go, I know what's going on, but I can't say anything. And I sympathize with you because I would be just as frustrated if they were doing what you're saying they're doing. Like, you can't legally accuse anybody, but you can, you would be like, I feel for you and I'm sorry, but that's just the game. And these are the rules, and people are taking advantage of it.
And so Disney's just setting new regulations of what this DAS pass is for, and it's not meant for every disability.
Right.
Yeah.
And that's just what it is, and it's just hitting people the hard way. They can't get away with it. But if you're gonna make a change, no one likes change, unfortunately.
And the whole, like, this whole pass is based off of the American Disability Act that was passed in 1991. And it's about fair and equal opportunity.
Yeah.
And like you said, mobility, if it's open and available for you to go through the line, that's fair.
Yeah.
And that's equal treatment under the rules and laws of it. And, and just there's certain situations that they go, this isn't fair for one group of people with that
Right.
need accommodations because it will ruin their experience.
Yeah.
And we can't make money off of ruined experiences. And you have to say no to people.
Yep.
Yeah.
Customer's not always right. And at Disney, you have to say no. And you'll be
Yeah.
surprised, as former cast members, we had to say no a lot.
Oh,
More than
yeah.
we actually say yes.
Yep.
Moving on. We not too many left. We're almost caught up here. Let's see here. Disney changes the name of their Disney Paris park to Disney Adventure World. For their Walt Disney Studios park is now called Disney Adventure World.
It's like miscellaneous park.
Right.
That's exactly what it is.
100%.
Adventure means
It's-
anything goes.
It's IP Park.
Where you can go watch the Alice in Wonderland BMX show.
Yeah.
That's the thing.
Yeah.
Alice in
I'll watch
Wonderland
it. That's
BMX
different.
show. Yep. All right. That was just a quick note there on that one. Disneyland 4 gets approved, and shortly after that, Disney announces that Autopia is going electric.
Is it an actual official
Yeah,
or
if they-
because
it
I
was a
know there
Disney
was
statement.
an article that it was Josh D'Amaro said like we are looking into it.
They said that before, and then right after the Disneyland Forward Pass, they announced they're going electric 2025
For Disneyland, at
for
least.
Disneyland, which I thought was
I
interesting.
wonder if we're going to get a sponsor.
Well, I thought it was interesting because the timing of it was right after it got approved. So if it didn't get approved, my thought was Autopia was going to go away.
Oh,
But
it's going to be Avatar?
It was going to be taken out and be expanded
It's
possibly
a
for
huge,
Avatar.
It's a huge
Right.
space
But
on the
now-
map. I'd
now
say it's
that
like
it
an
got-
eighth of the space of Disneyland.
It's huge.
Mm-hmm.
And so now that Disneyland Forward got approved, now it's like, well, now we don't need to.
Yeah.
We've got all this free space that we can do whatever we want.
Yeah,
with.
Disney
So-
has a lot of like Plan Bs and Cs and Ds if
Yes.
Disneyland 4 wasn't getting approved.
Right.
But now that it's approved, Disney's like, oh, we have room.
Right. We don't have to close things down. So don't expect to see any announcements for a replacement for Tomorrowland anytime soon.
No.
Tomorrowland is here to stay until after they've finished everything
I
else.
was like 96. It was great. What a good year.
We've already talked about the Disney Plus, Hulu, and Max bundle.
Yep.
Fantasy Springs at Tokyo Disney Sea has opened up. The attractions look very pretty. They're very pretty attractions.
What's the one that caught your eye?
The two big ones are the Rapunzel ride
Oh,
and the Frozen ride.
Whoa.
They look really good.
They are amazing.
And it's like the top technology too.
Peter Pan was kind of like meh to me because it looked kind of like a Ratatouille type of ride.
Meh.
Yeah.
Man, I really want to do like a bucket list trip out there. They've got some really cool, like,
Oh,
do a
it's-
3-park, like.
They got that. Their Beauty and the Beast ride looks amazing.
know.
Like it's
Mark and I really want to go to Tokyo Disney. I told her, I was like, I just want to go to the park. I don't know if I would go.
Tokyo's like, I mean, I've been to Osaka and I've only driven through Tokyo, but like, it's like clean and it's like
Yeah.
it's
Oh, I'm not worried. I just don't
it's
know.
your gateway to going to feeling comfortable enough to go to other countries.
I'm not worried about like safety or anything like that. I just don't know what I would want to see.
I mean, with your Tokyo,
You just do your research and beforehand.
yeah. I mean, there's
Yeah.
the Nintendo Park there,
Yeah.
and then I mean, there's so much history there.
So yeah, those attractions, they're new additions. They're like the rock work things like they're like you see the walkthrough of it's beautiful. It's one of the most beautiful additions to a Disney park I've ever seen in my life. So it's definitely motivating me to try to get out there to go see that in person. ESPN is merging with Disney Plus. You're starting to see sports content on there now.
Yeah, they had the WNBA preseason or the season openers.
Yeah.
I watched the game. It was nice.
Right. Bob Iger comes out and says attendance levels are leveling out post-COVID now. So the post-COVID,
hype.
the stimulus checks,
All the savings gone.
it's all gone, and so things are leveling out.
Things are more expensive now.
I think I think the market's leveling out in the sense of like reality is set in with what the cost of everything is.
Right. Here's one that I thought was interesting. So it was revealed, Great Moments with Mr. Lincoln has been closed for a little bit now, and it was just revealed that they're doing a $5 million refurbishment on it, which
Really?
involves an update to the stage, a possible rotating stage.
Ooh, that'd be
Oh,
cool.
wow.
And one of the rumors is that Walt Disney animatronic will be
Interesting.
included. But Mr. Lincoln is there to stay. Like it'll
Yeah,
still be
yeah,
Mr.
yeah.
Lincoln.
there
but-
would be riots from us.
But the rumor is that Walt Disney will have his own animatronic to introduce
Future
the
announcement
show.
for D23.
Well, it wouldn't surprise me if this is like an announcement they make at D23 and say, "Guess what?
Go now."
Today you can go see Walt Disney."
Yeah.
Ooh, that would be
because
huge.
they're already working on
That
it.
would be a nice refresher than from the Blue Sky.
Blue Sky, like
announcement.
maybe in 20 years we'll do something here. Yeah.
maybe not.
Also in that, with Bob Iger, he announced that all future investments in the park will all be IP based, meaning intellectual property based. So they're not going to be creating new original.
He makes a
content.
statement, but I'm like, you're not.
But what does that mean?
But you're not going to be the owner of Disney forever.
Right.
So that's going to change.
Yeah.
It could change. Obviously, I understand why they're doing IP based, but
You're just saying this is a nothing statement.
yeah.
Yeah, I agree.
And I just got two more left. This one, I don't know how I feel about this. They announced a Club 33 movie.
Money grab.
I don't see the point of it. Like, you're marketing this thing that's like almost impossible to be a part of. And so it's all like, look at this movie. Oh, but you can't be a part
But
of
we
our
love
super
watching
secret
But
things
the
we
thing-
can't. We love watching things we can't attain. Look at all the real estate shows on Netflix, and they show us these like $1 million homes, and you're like, I see it, and I'm just like, let's just make it sci-fi at that point. It's
I
fantasy.
think-
It means nothing to
I
me.
think part of it is because they, like in the past 5 years, they sold Club 33 memberships at Disney World for each of the parks.
Right.
And I think
they're
it's
trying to
pushing
they're-
more.
I would
Yeah,
rather
yeah.
them announce more SEA movies.
I agree
Society
with that.
Adventures Explorers.
That would be more
Explorers
interesting than Club 33.
Than Club 33.
That would be something cool on Disney Plus. Just start the show
Yeah.
and build the lore
Right.
out of it.
Yeah.
And then, as of the recording of today is the return of Phantasmic to Disneyland.
They got
Tonight is the-
No dragon. No dragon.
That's
but
right.
They got Peter Pan.
Peter
like-
Pan's come back.
Okay,
Yeah. He's
So-
back on the Columbia.
that's good. Oh, yeah, that's right.
So those are the headlines for the last 6 months. Obviously, there's a lot of other things. There's a
You
lot
get
of
all the traps of all like this beloved Fantasyland's
It's gone.
It's gone, and then in there it's like
it's
for 2 weeks it'll be
in-
closed. You're
it's
like, oh,
closed
trap.
indefinitely. That's the word they use.
Yes.
It's closed indefinite, meaning the refurbishment goes beyond their calendar,
Exactly. And it's,
which is
you
2 months.
Roll the eyes on that one.
Or
Yeah.
like, look at all the new merchandise. Yeah, there's a lot of that.
Yeah.
and things like that.
It's interesting.
Those are some good headlines.
Those are great.
I learned a lot myself on that one.
So
This-
you've got your 6-month update of what's happened in the Disney company. I tried to get as much as I could. It took a long time gathering.
Thank you for doing all that work.
Yeah.
Much appreciated.
Um,
I pulled 2.
But yeah, let us know what your thoughts. Which headline piqued your interest? What got you going?
Yeah.
I didn't realize this, or I want to know more about that. Feel free. Let us know. Contact us on all of our social medias.
Yeah,
We're
we
on-
can try to, if there's a certain article you want to know more about, we can try to
Yeah,
link that article for you.
absolutely. Let us know. Contact us. We're on all the social medias. You can email us at matterhornyodelers@gmail.com. And until next time, have a good day. Thank you for joining us on this week's episode of the Matterhorn Yodelers. Please remember, before your bobsled comes to a complete stop, to follow us on Facebook and Instagram. And remember,
Remain seated, please. Permanecer sentados, por favor.